AITA for not telling my wife that my sister died.
My 35M sister died 3 weeks ago. My wife had only met her once since she lived quite far away, and every time I went to see her my wife didn't come. My dad told me that she died and told me when her funeral was. I traveled down for the funeral and I told my wife I was going to see my sister, which wasn't really a lie. A few days after I got back home my brother called my wife and told her to check up on me since I hadn't been answering his calls and texts. I guess she asked why he was so worried and my brother told her about my sister dying. My wife got really upset at me for not telling her, and she said that I can't trust her and that I should talk to her instead of bottling up my feelings. I explained that I didn't tell her because I knew she'd worry and expect me to talk about how I feel.
It's very sweet of her for worrying about me, but she doesn't need to. It's like she doesn't understand that I don't talk about how I feel, unlike her. She's barely spoken to me since she said that she feels betrayed. I didn't mean to use Peter so much, I just didn't want to deal with her constant worrying. AITA?
Unfortunately, Uta. First and foremost, I'm sorry for you lost. I understand it's hard when a partner can be a little overbearing when they are worried. They love you. I would be quite hurt my husband would not share something so personal because I would worry. Trust that she is there for you. You can say, I don't need you to worry, or even, I need some time to myself. But to purposefully keep information like that from your family, it's just hurtful. I hope you guys can talk it out.
Soft Tuta because you lost a sister. But how you could not tell your wife something as important as my sister died? You got the news, made travel plans, traveled, went to a funeral, came home, and at no time told your spouse that a member of your immediate family passed away. Whether you were close to your sister or not, that's a major thing to deal with without sharing any of it with your spouse. When you said you were going to see your sister and chose not to include that it was for her funeral, you lied by omission. And if I were your wife, I'd wonder how many other major things you've chosen not to tell me.
I can't imagine being so emotionally constipated that I don't even tell the person I'm supposed to love and trust as much as I would espouse something like this. Uta. Regardless of whether or not you want to talk about your feelings, you told your wife a giant lie for no reason.
Sorry, dude. YTA. You can't hide things from your spouse, and this was a big deal. Always be honest with your wife. My recommended approach would have been to tell her what happened and just been clear about what your needs were at the time. You can't control how worried she feels. But there would have been nothing wrong with asking her at the time to support you by trying to make her worrying less obvious. Let her know why, for example. Perhaps it overwhelms you and stresses you out when she worries excessively.
Uta. This is the for better, or for worse part of marriage. The whole point is that you look out for and take care of each other. A sibling dying is a big thing, and not telling her about it is a huge breach of trust. Uta. Someone who excludes their life partner and looks to this particular subreddit for affirmation is by definition TA.
YTA. You lied to your wife. That's simply not okay. It appears you don't want to talk to anyone about your feelings. Your wife, your brother, are both concerned about you. They are your family. It's their responsibility to check on you and ask if you're okay. You can't just ignore them forever. If you don't want to deal with your feelings with your family, then find someone else to talk to. Anyone. A stranger. Pour your feelings out on Reddit. Just talk to someone. I'm sorry for your family's loss. This is really a betrayal. If you can't tell your own wife that your sister died, what else are you keeping from her? What else don't you want her to worry about? Everything? I would reconsider my relationship with you. YTA. I think she's upset that you didn't rely on her for such an important event. She probably does want to support and console you and doesn't understand how you can be fine. Another part of her is probably worried that if you didn't tell her about this, What other emotionally significant events are you keeping to yourself and probably worried about you? I wouldn't say that you're an asshole, but I would recommend trying to let her in a little bit. Info. Why did you get married? What do you think is a normal marriage? Are you depressed maybe? YTA. I'm sorry for your loss. And I wish I did not have to come down on this side. Funerals are not so much about the dead as they are the living. Even though your wife didn't have a significant relationship with your sister, she does have a significant relationship with you. And you had a significant relationship with your sister. And it seems that she has at least a relationship with your brother who also lost a sister. Saying, "I'm going to see my sister," but leaving out that it was for a funeral is still a lie of omission. Putting it on your grieving brother to tell your wife? Would it have been that hard to say, "My sister died. I'm going to her funeral"? The best way to support me in this is to not worry and try to get me to talk about my feelings about this. The reason she feels betrayed is that you had lied to her. YTA. It was a lie. A lie by misdirection is still a lie. It's the intent. Admit it. For some reason you did not want your wife going with you to the funeral. Your wife knows this now too and is rightfully pissed. So I wonder, why didn't you want your wife to go to the funeral? I'm betting the reason is going to make you look like an even bigger aw. Sorry for your loss, C. But YTA. I traveled down for the funeral and I told my wife I was going to see my sister. Which wasn't really a lie. My guy. You know what you did there? You lied by omission. It's like she doesn't understand that I don't talk about how I feel unlike her. Then don't talk about them. But your sister dying isn't a feeling. She actually died. YTA. And you cannot have a healthy marriage without both partners being capable of talking about their feelings. I think it would be good to get into therapy and try to identify why you are so scared of sharing your feelings. I've lost a lot of people in my life and I'm always one to say not to judge how others grieve. But I really don't think this is long-term healthy for you. Further, how long did you think you could keep this up without her finding out? How did you see this playing out? Would you have taken her to a family event 6 months from now and walk her into a situation where she's told by your siblings or parents and let her flounder as they realize she never knew? Just never see your family again? Clearly you weren't thinking ahead, which I get given the situation. But honestly, this was not a good plan. YTA. You need therapy, dude. This is not normal behavior at all. And neither is never ever talking to anyone about your feelings. Go to a therapist. Wow. You lied, misled and misrepresented that you visiting your sister. That's weird. Spouses support each other. You just put a colossal issue in your relationship of will she ever trust you? Yes, have to say YTA here. YTA. This is really a breach of trust. I'd be wondering what other big things you're hiding. If you don't want to talk about your feelings, just let her know, but not letting her into what's going in your life is not okay. YTA. It's not really about not talking about your feelings. I would expect this level of need to know from distant coworkers or neighbors, not your actual partner. YTA. What did anyone have to gain with your omission in this scenario? Exactly. If there are other reasons you're not comfortable sharing a major event with your partner, this needs more scrutiny. Because super red flag. You need to apologize to your wife and explain to your family too. In the event they are mistaken as to an unsavory reason your wife was not in attendance.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.